are back with Channel 247 Cal News. Up next, we have our special segment of the week, How to Succeed in a Berkeley Class. Today's class is College Writing 10A, Introduction to Public Speaking. We will be having 3 guests speak about and give tips about this class. Here to give a general tip and to talk about the informative speech is Royce.
So my tip is, don't be obsessive with the draft of your speech or the actual speech plan. When you have a written draft, you're setting yourself up for problems when you can't remember word for word what you wrote. It's better instead to be familiar with the individual points and details that you made for yourself so you can just flow with it. So my first tip for the informative speech is that since this is your first speech, please be aware of time. Don't have too much information that you can't fit into that 3 to 4 minute window. It's also important to pick a topic that you're either passionate about or find interesting. This will help you keep the audience's attention better. Be sure also to cite 2 legitimate sources in your speech, and make sure you use words like flowery, beautiful, exciting, fantastic. Use descriptive language. Thank you. These are my tips, and we'll give it back to Arnold.
Thank you, Royce. Take note of those tips, folks. They'll help you get the grade you want. We'll be right back after these messages.
Come on, Barbie, let's go party.
I'm a Barbie girl in the Barbie world. Life is plastic, it's fantastic. You can brush my hair, undress me everywhere. Imagination, life is your creation. I'm a blonde single girl.
Welcome back, folks. Up next, we have Kelvin, who will give you another general tip for the class and some advice on the special occasion speech. Kelvin?
Well, a general tip from me is to be aware of your hands. Now, it's great to have hand gestures while you're doing your speech, but you want to be careful not to make any large, elaborate movements which are distracting and draw attention away from your actual speech. Now, let's talk about the special occasion speech. First of all, what is a special occasion speech? Well, it's exactly what it sounds like. It's a speech that you'd give on a special occasion such as a wedding or a birthday celebration. Now, one of the main goals of a special occasion speech is to create an atmosphere. You want to establish a mood or a feeling that lasts throughout. And one of the best ways to do this is to somehow work some sort of personal story into your speech. For example, if you were doing a wedding toast, then maybe you'd want to tell a story about how the couple met in order to establish a sense of sentimentality. Now, how do you tell a good story? The way I like to do it is to focus in on the little details. You want to bring the audience with you into your story, so you could try using descriptive imagery, try to paint a picture. If you're telling a story in the first person, you can try to narrate the thoughts that were going through your head as the story happened to you. Another key aspect to telling a good story is the delivery. Even the most exciting of plot lines can sound boring when the delivery is poor. So, you can try to improve upon your delivery by using vocal variety. Change the tone of your voice in order to suit the events that are happening as you tell the story. Use facial expressions, hand gestures. When you're telling the story, try to relive the story in your mind. Really invest yourself into it so that your emotions can be expressed naturally. Don't try to memorize your story. Try to kind of have a sense of spontaneity to it, so you can have room for improvisation, and also so that your emotions seem more natural. That's all I have to say for the special occasion speech. Back to you, Arnold.
Thank you for that extremely helpful advice, Kelvin. Finally, we have our last speaker, here to give more general tips and advice on the sales pitch is Duke.
Alright, so my general tip is to keep up with the class schedule. Although Carolyn might not collect all the assignments, it's in your best interest to complete all of them on time. Just because if you fully invest yourself in the speech plans and the assignments that she assigns, it's better for you and you become more prepared for the speech as opposed to rushing through it and then having to come up with something on the spot. So as for the sales pitch, I have 3 pieces of advice. The first of which is choose a product that you truly believe in. Because if you don't, then it's going to come across in your sales pitch and you don't want that. The audience can tell when you're truly emotionally invested in the product that you're selling, and just the fact that you're invested in it will make the audience believe in it too. My second piece of advice is that you should generally try to shy away from PowerPoints and posters for your visual aid. Kelvin's probably going to talk to you about this, but I personally had a little mishap with my PowerPoint in that I used a cell phone app for the clicker, the PowerPoint clicker, and it turns out that the app went faulty in the middle of my speech, and so I took up a good 15 to 20 seconds just trying to figure out what went wrong, and then finally decided that I wasn't going to use the PowerPoint anymore. But obviously that distracted from the value of my presentation. So what I would suggest is to use an actual object, preferably of whatever you're selling, as opposed to a poster or a PowerPoint. And then finally, my last piece of advice is to not worry about the Q&A. Compared to the speech, Q&A is relatively easy. Like I said before, if you're invested in your product, it should come naturally. You should know most of the details about your product, and it should be closer to a conversation as opposed to a speech. Yep, that's it.
Thanks for that advice, Duke. That's it for tonight's show. Thanks for watching. Good night, good luck with this class, and go Bears!
That's right. Wake up with the king.
So, for my tips for the informer speech. Oh fuck, okay, top, stop.
And so just by choosing a... Alright,
Thanks for that advice, Duke. That's it for tonight's show. Good luck with this class. Thanks for watching, and go Bears. Oh, fuck. Thanks for that advice, Duke. That's it for tonight's show.
go.
Sorry.